Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of Coffee with Corissa. Today, as promised, I am talking about the Norman Reedus movie, Floating. So let's start with that funny story I promised about my first reaction to it. So I watched this movie in complete silence by myself on my laptop. And at the end, I'm just sitting there in the aftermath, just watching the credits roll by in complete silence. And then I just start sobbing. And then I got mad because I didn't understand why I was so upset and crying. So I kind of like threw the remote control across the room. Not many movies can do that to me. Floating and Norman Reedus' performance in it did very much. Every time, actually. I am scared to watch this movie because I might break something. Told you I had problems. There are two types of movies. There's a plot-based movie, which pretty much stuff is happening and characters have to react to it, and that is what pretty much carries them through. And then there's character-based movies, which it's not a clear plot. Like, there isn't a main objective. There's struggles or events happening, but it's more about what it does to the character, how the character is reacting to it. And Floating is that. You have Norman Reedus' character, Van, kind of stuck at home as other people are going off to college because he doesn't have money to go. You guys who have been with me from the beginning know I can't talk about this. Anyway, so that kind of gets me. And he's living in this small town around this lake that most people go to as vacation, or they come back to but they don't stay. But he's sort of stuck in this life and he's not really sure how to get out. And he has struggles at home, which I'm not going to get into describing the whole plot, because the point is this feeling of being trapped in circumstances and not really satisfied with your life, but not really knowing how to get out or how to move forward. A lot of people can relate to that. So it can draw you in without you realizing that it's coming in the back cellar door. And then it's too late. I can do this. I promise. Another thing that Floating does is uses powerful imagery to convey its story. It basically distills it down into images that has a similar feel, a similar emotional content that the character is feeling, that the story is. And this is what you're following. Floating bookends itself with, I'm not going to quote the dialogue, but it starts off with Van saying an introduction, and it ends with pretty much the same thing, but it changes it in a powerful way, especially when coupled with the image, the final scene. I'm gonna cry. I can't deal with this. But other images, it uses a shot of the sky, and you see clouds slowly drifting off in the scene, but cutting through the middle of that is a airplane jet stream. And so you have this juxtaposition of the clouds and the jet trail, one just sort of floating in the air, not really going anywhere. It's pretty to look at, but it's not really going anywhere. And the jet stream of an airplane full of people getting on with life, going somewhere, leaving their small town and achieving their goals. And okay, here we go. having a character like Van, where you have to pay attention and you have to empathize or sympathize. I very much empathized. That's an entirely different type of story. So you have the time to tell the story in visual cues, like the clouds and the jet trail. And it's things like that that make it all the more powerful, because you come down to simple things like that where everything is building on the same concept, floating through life, despite the fact that you have a lot of desire and a lot of ambition and things you want to do, like join a swim team and go to college and pursue your education. But things like money or family struggles or personal emotional problems keep you from actually achieving those goals. Those are the things that I look for when I'm watching a character-based drama, character-based movie, and Norman Reedus' performance in this one, in Floating, was very potent. I'm gonna cry. I can't deal with my life right now. I can't even talk about it. Next week, I am going to talk about Sean Patrick Flanery movie called Powder. Because while I'm on the subject of movies that make me cry, let's just get to that one too. I'll catch you next week.